where you get paid at the top 5 average salary of your position. That's a premium that gets paid to the best players. Jadeveon Clowney got that. Other edge rushers, Lawrence out of the Dallas, he got that. So there's those premiums, but there's also premiums based on location and opportunity. There's discounts too. The hometown discount is the one most fans have heard of and the easiest to understand. This is where a player either takes a discount to play the team he's already on or a team that he grew up rooting for or lived in the general area growing up, this hometown. Tom Brady, however, he has been the poster child of this discount for the past 8 years. That's right, 8 years in a row, Tom Brady has taken a pay cut. Now, it doesn't hurt that he's married to a very successful supermodel who's made hundreds of millions of dollars on her own, but it's more about football for the Patriots. It's a part of the genius of the Patriots, another part of it. They figured out this cheap quarterback thing before the rest of the league. You hear of it now all the time. Rookie contracts for the quarterback. Strike when you have a rookie contract. Because you don't have that advantage once that quarterback gets to the pay window, once it becomes time for him to get paid. But back to the Patriots, it's not enough that they have the GOAT, Bill Belichick at head coach, and the GOAT, Tom Brady at quarterback. The organization avoids long-term contracts for most of their players over the age of 26, and they keep Tom Brady's salary under control. This is a blueprint that they have done forever, and the rest of the league should pay attention. And some of them have. It's the reason that the Rams went all in while Jared Goff is on his rookie deal. Because for any quarterback worth his salt, and Jared Goff is, I don't know that he's great, but he's a good quarterback. The Rams, or wherever he lands, they're going to have to pay him between $25 and $30 million conservatively a year once Goff leaves his rookie contract. And once you give that much to your quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, it becomes very hard to protect him and give him the weapons and put together a defense that you need to win a Super Bowl. It becomes more about luck, not about successful planning. But if you have a quarterback on his rookie deal, you can put those expensive pieces around him. And that is what the Cleveland Browns are trying to do. Baker Mayfield is fresh off his rookie touchdown record and sub 500 record in the standings. And he has been given all the toys a young quarterback can ask for. Hell, I think he has more weapons than any quarterback could ask for. And the names are eye-popping. Kareem Hunt, beginning in Week 9. Odell Beckham Jr. They were added to an already talented group on offense of Nick Chubb, Jarvis Landry, and David Njoku. This could give the Browns a top 10 player at both running back spots, both wide receiver spots, and at tight end. I think it's a little worrisome that they traded one of their best offensive linemen, and they really didn't do much else to improve that offensive line. I'm not high on Greg Robinson, and a lot of teams have been burned waiting on young linemen to develop, like the Browns hope. Austin Corbett will. They also traded away a lot of draft capital, so this team's not going to get a lot more of help on that offensive line. And championship teams often have good offensive lines. The Browns don't have one, I think. Now, even if they don't have a good line, they have a lot of weapons on offense. Maybe the best set of wide receivers and offensive weapons overall in the league. And they're certainly comparable with the Kansas City Chiefs, who John Dorsey left and assembled before coming to Cleveland. The Browns made big moves on defense as well. In trading Zeitler to the Giants, the Browns got back a great pass rusher, and Olivier Vernon. You put him opposite Myles Garrett, and that is a big problem for the rest of the league. They also added Sheldon Richardson to the inside of that line, and the Browns have other good young depth. So that D-line may be, and probably will be, one of the best in the league. But there's still some real holes to talk about with the Browns, even on defense. They traded a key piece of that defense to the Giants in the unbelievable athlete that is Jabril Peppers, who I've always doubted as an NFL player, but he has vastly improved as a safety in his short 2-year NFL career. Trading him away results in a mediocre secondary. Now, it could grow and it could overperform, but right now it's pretty average at best. And hey, a great pass rush and pressure up the middle can make that secondary look better, and the Browns better hope it does. They also are a little weak at linebacker outside of Schobert, and they have to address those issues. But at a minimum, all the moves that Dorsey made, and he made a lot of them, and they were great on paper. Those moves energize the fans of the Browns like nothing I've seen since they've been back. The Steelers seem to be a dumpster fire. The Ravens lost all of their starting linebackers, and the Bengals should be demoted to the Big Ten of NCAA football. Now, the Steelers still have the best quarterback in the conference, and some talent on both sides of the ball. Connor is good. Smith-Schuster is good. The other Watt is good. And while the Ravens lost some pieces, some good pieces, some big pieces, they also added some veteran leadership in Mark Ingram and Earl Thomas, and they have a good young quarterback who may develop. And if he develops, could be trouble. But the Browns on paper are the best team in the AFC North. Now, winning in the offseason is not a guaranteed recipe for instant success or success at all. On 2 occasions in the past 10 years, the Eagles have won the offseason. In 2011 and in 2015, the Eagles stocked up on offense and defense. The 2011 Dream Team, as they were dubbed, was dismantled in 2015 so Chip Kelly could sign DeMarco Murray and a bunch of fast people on offense. Neither of those teams made much noise in the playoffs. And look at the Redskins. The Redskins historically would win the offseason. This was closer to 15 years ago, but they would always sign big-time free agents, and they never had anything to show for it. And one of the Browns' trading partners just the last couple of years, the New York Giants, in 2016, they bought one of the best defenses money can buy. They added Olivier Vernon, Damon Harrison, Janoris Jenkins. They re-signed JPP, and they drafted Eli Apple. What a defense they put together. They are now one of the worst teams in the NFL. So winning free agency, as we determine, that doesn't mean winning on the field. Another recent example, the Colts. They added 2 Hall of Famers, Frank Gore, who was only 55 at the time, and Andre Johnson, who was pretty much in his prime. They also added young defensive pieces, Trent Cole, Nate Irving. They went 8-8 as Andrew Luck started his 10-year adventure of his injured shoulder, which he's now just recovering from. And what may be the most troubling for the Browns, because this is all conjecture. We don't know. We don't know if it's going to work, and we don't know if it's not. But if it's not, if there are going to be issues, it could be off the field. Dorsey does not back away from questionable characters who are very talented, and that makes sense. Talent wins football games, so long as 2 things are true. 1, they can play football because they're not suspended, or 2, they're not hurt. Just look at Dorsey draftee Tyreek Hill, who, if he is responsible for the abuse of the young child that he's alleged to have caused, he should be thrown away in a hole for as long as humanly possible. And this isn't new, guys. Tyreek Hill had a conviction of abuse for the mother of this child prior to being drafted. Now, he rode the straight and narrow for 3 years. He cleared probation. But as soon as he was off of probation, about 6 months later, this incident happened, allegedly. And the group of Browns that Dorsey has brought in are not choir boys. Kareem Hunt has been accused of a number of assaults on men and women. We all know about the one that they caught on videotape. He is serving an 8-game suspension, and if he gets in any more trouble, he probably will no longer be available. Odell Beckham Jr. is not an off-the-field problem guy, but he is an injury bug kind of guy. And while he's got some antics about him, so do all wide receivers. And most people who have played with him say he's an amazing teammate, and maybe having Jarvis Landry next to him is going to help control that. But he is injury prone. He missed most of last year, and he missed significant time throughout most of his career. And another guy they have to worry about is Sheldon Richardson. He has been suspended for performance-enhancing drugs in the past. He has had a number of run-ins with the law in the past. And he seems to have some locker room issues as he's bounced around the league. But he's very, very talented. These are all things that I say are yellow flags. These are not red flags. But there's a lot going on here. And hopefully they are all past these issues. But as we saw with Tyreek Hill, you never know. Even Baker Mayfield will have to mature, in my opinion. And he's going to have to find a way to manage and control a group of very talented veterans with high egos and high expectations. He's a leader, so I'm not saying he can't do that. But maturity for me with him is something we need to see. And, again, if he does, it's going to be great. But there's just so much of this. And all of this is going to be guided by one Freddie Kitchens. Now, Freddie Kitchens is a great guy, but he is a rookie head coach who never served even a full year as a coordinator in the NFL, and he hasn't been a head coach at any level of football. Not Pee-wee, not middle school, not high school, and certainly not the NFL with playoff expectations and those crazy words Super Bowl being thrown around. It is going to be wonderful to watch unfold, and I hope the Browns pull it off. I've lived here almost 20 years. I want to see the Browns be successful. They are a team that was 0-16 3 years ago, 1-15 2 years ago. And now the words Super Bowl are not crazy based on talent alone. But becoming a championship team doesn't happen on paper. It happens on the field, and lots of things can go wrong on the way to that goal. It is going to be a great watch. And if you're a Browns fan, you have to feel like it's Christmas in the middle of March. Now, the Buffalo Bills, they had a busy offseason too. Like the Browns, they had a lot of money to spend. Unlike the Browns, they mostly stayed away from the big names. One exception is they almost traded for Antonio Brown. As I discussed with Matt Fairburn, I feel that would have been a total dumpster fire. I don't want any piece of that, and I'm glad they avoided that disaster. Now, the Bills don't have the big name quarterback like Baker Mayfield, and they don't have the collection of talent the Browns already had going into this offseason. This was a year of rebuilding. The Bills had lots of holes to fill, and I think they checked a lot of the boxes, as Matt said. Mitch Morris, the center, is probably the crown jewel of this free agency crop for us. He's a good center. He's a great center, actually. And the Bills' offensive line needs a veteran leader who is good at blocking large humans. Morris checks both those boxes. The Bills also needed weapons for Josh Allen, and they checked those boxes too. They signed Cole Beasley to play the slot and John Brown to run down the field and catch footballs. Quietly, the Bills brought in some offensive linemen, Tal Nishke, Spencer Long, John Feliciano, and these guys at worst are going to be rotational. These are actual NFL linemen, which if you're a Buffalo Bills fan or watched them play a game of football last year, real actual NFL offensive linemen, not something Buffalo majored in last year. Finally, Tyler Kroft gives Josh Allen a big and fast target at tight end, and he's an upgrade over the decrepit and now dismissed Charles Clay. All in all, the Bills have money left to spend next year on their young players, or like Cleveland, if they want to, they can make a big splash next year if all goes right in the step-by-step rebuilding that the Bills did this year. Look, playing with the New England Patriots sucks. It makes it very hard to make the playoffs. The Patriots have won this division for 69 years straight, and the Jets have upgraded as well. And Miami, look, it looks like they're tanking as well. It looks like they're with the Giants looking for the number one pick, but they're always a tough game for Buffalo, especially down in Miami. For me, the best part of free agency for Buffalo was avoiding paying the Buffalo tax that Matt and I talked about during the interview. Playing in the frozen glacier that is upstate New York on a team that has made the playoff once in 20 years is a tough sell. We saw it with Mario Williams. We've seen it with other free agencies. Buffalo generally has to overpay for free agents or to re-sign players to stay here. But this year I thought they did a good job. Morris's contract is front-loaded, so if the Bills do want to move on, they're going to have to pay him most of his guaranteed money in the first 2 years. That is not team-friendly. And I think Cole Beasley's contract, while team-friendly, is a few Benjamins too high. But look, those are good conversations to have. We're not saying that they clearly overpaid for anybody, and that is a plus for the Buffalo Bills. Now, I think other teams did overpay, clearly, and it's not surprising at what positions. Top edge pass rushers are a commodity. If you are big and fast and can sack the quarterback, you are going to get paid. And most of the top edge rushers were franchise tagged by their teams. As a result, the ones that weren't, like Trey Flowers of New England,